Hi everyone, welcome to my channel moviesnips. Today I'm going to be talking about the unique battle tactics, military logistics, and fighting styles of the four main factions that are actively vying for control of Arrakis, which include House Atreides, House Harkonnen, the Imperial Sardaukar, and the Fremen. Before I get further into this, please remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Throughout the various Dune film adaptations, we see these power players face off against one another in a struggle to control the most valuable commodity in the known universe, the spice melange. The spice is vital to interstellar commerce, extends longevity, and enhances prescient abilities amongst its users. Whoever controls the spice essentially controls the known universe. The Emperor only gives the stewardship of Arrakis to the most powerful houses in the Landsraad. If you consider the prequel Dune books written by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson as canon, Arrakis was controlled by House Atreides before the Harkonnens gained the stewardship of the planet in 10,111 AG. The Harkonnens gained immense wealth in the 80 years that they governed over Arrakis, managing to amass huge quantities of secret spice stockpiles without the Emperor's knowledge. The fiefdom of Arrakis would then transition to House Atreides in 10191 AG, and with it the responsibilities, challenges, and perils that it entailed. The great houses of the Landsraad that are assigned the stewardship of Arrakis are expected to maintain large military forces that can be called upon at any moment in order to defend against attacks from enemy forces, and these forces are also responsible for maintaining order and control within the various population centers of the desert world. Let's begin with House Atreides. The Atreides, hailing from the lush, water-rich planet of Caladan, had managed to channel their prosperity into the creation of a well-organized, well-trained, loyal military force that served their duke with zeal and devotion. They have some of the best war tacticians and battle strategists in the known universe, including warriors such as Duncan Idaho, Gurney Halleck, and Mentat Tufir Hawat. At the time of the Atreides' arrival on Arrakis, the Duke had even managed to train a small contingent of his forces to be as good as the dreaded Imperial Sardaukar. The Atreides also rely on the superiority of their air power and maintain a large fleet of combat-ready ornithopters. The Atreides prefer quality over quantity and tend to prefer defensive strategies over offensive strategies. They produce commandos, not grunts. If you watch some of the scenes showing the Atreides troops in combat from the Dune 2021 movie, you'll notice that they tend to favor organized and well thought out combat maneuvers such as the phalanx-like formation, which they use to defend against the oncoming Harkonnen onslaught, overcoming the numerical superiority of their enemy with sound battle strategies. The Atreides had even managed to develop their own battle language, using secret hand signals to communicate with one another. Even the Duke's son Paul was well trained in hand-to-hand combat by War Master Gurney Halleck, and in the ways of the Bene Gesserit by his mother, Lady Jessica. In the Dune 2021 adaptation, you'll notice that the combat suits that the Atreides wear appear to be made out of a high-quality composite material and are polygonally angled to allow the wearer greater freedom of movement in combat. Their helmets have a more of a hawk-like appearance, befitting their house's insignia. They also carry swords which are better designed for intricate swordsmanship rather than bludgeoning. House Harkonnen appears to be the polar opposite of House Atreides in many regards, notably in the manner that they organize and deploy their military forces on Arrakis. Hailing from the heavily industrialized dim world of Giedi Prime, the Harkonnen troops are most likely conscripted for active duty and are probably not given much of a say in the matter. Those that make up the lower social classes on Giedi Prime grow up in poverty, and the military is generally seen as a way out to a better life. They are held together by a control structure that advocates iron-handed discipline and brutal punishment in the event of disobedience. This creates a rather toxic environment among their troops and causes them to lash out in unpredictable and sometimes bestial ways when interacting with outsiders. The Harkonnens favor numerical superiority over small contingents of highly trained warriors. They tend to be more on the offensive rather than on the defensive. They breed grunts, not commandos. Their troops generally receive minimal combat training and usually rely on brute force and technologically advanced destructive weaponry to overcome their enemies. During their attack on Arrakis, the Harkonnen troops seem to rush their enemy in a hasty, uncoordinated manner, and are more reminiscent of barbarian hordes rather than adept swordsmen. Given their lower level of training, it is quite possible that their offensive against the Atreides may have failed had the Baron not enlisted the help of the Emperor Sardaukar. Even their harvesters are weaponized to defend against Fremen raids, and we see this clearly in the opening scenes of the Dune 2021 movie. The Harkonnens' plan of attack entails finding an inroad into their enemy's defense, as they did with Dr. Yuri, lowering the Arrakeen palace shields and then overwhelming them with a numerically superior offensive. They even deployed stealth bombs to destroy most of the Atreides frigates that were caught off guard. Somewhere toward the middle of the film, Dr. Kynes mentioned that about 2,000 joint Harkonnen and Sardaukar attack ships hit various population centers on Arrakis simultaneously. In the Dune 2021 adaptation, you'll notice that the combat suits that the Harkonnen wear appear to be more outwardly intimidating, yet also more insect-like. They don't appear to be made of the same quality composite material that the Atreides battle suits are made out of. The melee weapon that the Harkonnen soldiers carry is better designed for chopping/bludgeoning rather than skilled swordsmanship. The Emperor Sardaukar are a whole different animal entirely, trained to be the most dreaded, highly skilled fighting force in the known universe. They are absolutely ruthless in combat and follow orders without question. They have an almost religious devotion to combat and serving their emperor. In the original Dune novel, it's mentioned that a lone Sardaukar warrior is as good as 10 regular Lancerad conscripts. They are called on Seleucus Secundus, a brutal post-atomic hellhole of a planet, where more than half of the cadets don't even survive the training program. The Sardaukar are a large force when combined as a whole, but are more thinly spread amongst the many worlds of the known universe, being called to active duty whenever a particular conflict or dispute requires the need for military intervention. They are usually deployed in smaller contingents of perhaps a few dozen warriors at any one particular location on the battlefield. They try to split up their enemy and draw their attention away from the central conflict so that they can slaughter them at leisure. They are adept swordsmen and tend to utilize highly specialized and dangerous trademark styles of combat. If they find themselves surrounded, they group together in trios and adopt a triangular fighting stance with their backs to one another. They also carry unique weapons such as razor-sharp shigawire, throwing knives, poison needle guns, lasguns, and weapons designed to penetrate shields. They are also masters of infiltration and espionage. The Dune 2021 movie doesn't give us a lot of info on their ships, but in the scene on Seleucus Secundus, we are shown shots of Sardaukar dropships in the background as Piter de Vries discusses his plans with the bearded Sardaukar warrior. Their uniforms appear to be made out of a high-quality ballistic fabric-like material. They also wear pressurized helmets, indicating that they probably fight on worlds that are even less hospitable to life than Arrakis is, perhaps on airless moons, to give one example. They carry long swords that measure 40 to 50 centimeters long, which are well suited to their unique combat style. It should be noted that the only Dune adaptation that did justice to the fact that the Sardaukar were supposed to be disguised in Harkonnen uniforms was the Dune miniseries of 2000. Both the Lynch and the Villeneuve adaptations failed to deliver along these lines. The Fremen are the native population of Arrakis and have adapted to the harsh conditions of the desert world over millennia. They are a highly resourceful and highly underestimated faction that proved to be a decisive component in Paul's plan to overthrow the Emperor and the Harkonnen. The Fremen are not as well equipped as the other off-world factions, and instead they rely on guerrilla tactics such as hit-and-run raids against Harkonnen harvesters. They rely on stealth and sabotage rather than brute force to achieve their objectives. At the same time, they are not as resource dependent and can survive in the open desert for extended periods of time by wearing still suits, thereby keeping their food consumption and loss of body fluids to a minimum. This gives them a decisive advantage over their enemies, as most coordinated military efforts involving ornithopters and other vehicles just don't fare well on Arrakis. The planet's conditions are just too unforgiving, with giant sandworms tunneling under the surface of the planet, as well as superstorms with 800 km/h winds that eradicate everything in their path. They are also incredibly adept at hand-to-hand combat, perhaps even better than some of the Emperor Sardaukar. Paul would eventually instruct the Fremen in the Bene Gesserit weirding way, making them even faster and more dangerous in combat. It should be noted that as Paul's empire would rise to power after the defeat of the Emperor, the Fremen Fedaykin would replace the Sardaukar as the elite warrior force of the known universe, and they would play an instrumental part in promulgating Paul's violent yet necessary bloody jihad. The Sardaukar would remain in existence but would become a shadow of their former selves after the fall of House Carino. I'd like to thank you for watching my video today. If you feel I missed anything or would like to add anything to this discussion, please feel free to comment down below. Please also remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and please check out my channel for more Dune videos.